edition of the professoral inaugural lecture of this great university. This time around is the 115th inaugural lecture to be delivered by a distinguished professor of religious studies who specializes in African religion, comparative study of religion, and of course, philosophy of religion. It's no other person than Professor KEHINDE EMMANAUEL OBASOLA. Let's put our hands together for this distinguished Nancy. Let's put our hands together for the procession. We are not clapping. Thank you very much. It's followed by the Ph.D. Faculty of Engineering, Dr. Abayomi Layeni. Equally have next to him, the Faculty of Agricultural Management and Rural Development, Professor Diran Awotide. Professor Awotide is followed by the Dean Faculty of Arts, Professor Samson Dari. Next to him is the Dean Faculty of Pharmacy, Professor Latif Kassim. Professor Kassim is closely followed by the Dean Faculty of Clinical Sciences, Professor Babatunde Ayoade. And to him is the Dean Faculty of Science, Professor John Lawi. Followed by the Dean Faculty of Education, Professor Yekini Ogun. And to him is the Dean Faculty of Social Sciences, Professor Ayodele Odunlami. Next to him is the Dean Faculty of Administration and Management Sciences, Professor Use Solanke. We have next to him the Acting Provost, College of Engineering and Environmental Studies, Dr. Bashir Odufuwa. Next to him is the Provost, Postgraduate School, Professor Olusegun Adebayo Lawal. Of course, the new bursar of this great university, Mr. Olufemi Showunmi, FCA. We have next to the bursar, the university librarian, Professor Prentola Nike Onipade. And of course, the registrar and secretary council of this great university, Mr. Femi Ogun. Of course, the deputy chancellor of administration, academic, this time around, Professor Olatumu Abosedi Odenri. Of course, our distinguished inaugural lecturer of today, Professor KEHINDE EMMANAUEL OBASOLA. He is closely followed by our main Chancellor, Professor Ayodeji Abuola. Thank you very much. I will put our hands again together for the distinguished academics of this great university. Thank you very much. Let's be seated. Mr. Vice Chancellor, other distinguished personality at the high table, distinguished guests, and members of the audience, great Nigerian students. It's now my pleasure to welcome to the podium the registrar of this great university, Mr. Femi Ogun, who in turn will invite the Vice Chancellor, Professor Ayodeji Abuola, to declare the 115th inaugural lecture open. Thank you very much. Let's put our hands together for the registrar.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, once again, I welcome you on behalf of the University Management to this 115th inaugural lecture. And now invite the Vice Chancellor to please declare this ceremony open. The Vice Chancellor.
The principal officers of the university, provosts, deans, professors here present, members of Senate, other distinguished guests present here, the inaugural lecturer of today, and the team, and I'll actually follow him. On behalf of Senate of this great university, I hereby declare 115th inaugural lecture open.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today's lecture, titled Delivering God from Evil, an Afro-Philosophical Perspective, will be delivered by Professor KEHINDE EMMANAUEL OBASOLA. Professor OBASOLA, may I please ask you to stand and remain standing. The Vice Chancellor will now introduce the inaugural lecturer. The Vice Chancellor.
Professor K.E. OBASOLA. I told my wife today that I'm also going to have my share before my wife leaves, so that I can have both Tai and KEHINDE and Ogun and OBASOLA and ONABANJO together at the same time. So Professor KEHINDE EMMANUEL OBASOLA was born on November 23, 1966 in Shagamu to Mr. Fred Oyinlele and Mrs. Victoria Olasembo OBASOLA. He had his elementary education at Wesley Primary School, Mako Shagamu, between 1971 and 1977. His secondary school education was at AGO-IWOYE Victoria High School in Abeokuta between 1979 and 1984, as well as Rival Secondary School Shagamu for his basic school from 1985 to 1986. Thereafter, he proceeded to the Ogun State School of Basic Education for his advanced level, after which he gained admission into Ogun State University, now OLABISI University, AGO-IWOYE, in 1987, where he obtained Ph.D. Honors Religious Studies in 1981, graduating with second-class upper division. Prof planned to have a niche in the field of religious study with African comparative study of religion, philosophy of religion as area of specialization. The young OBASOLA proceeded to the Premier University, the University of Ibadan, Oyo State, for his master's degree in religious studies, and he completed it in 1994. And this was followed by his enrollment for Ph.D. in religious studies, and he completed that in 2007. Professor OBASOLA joined the services of Ogun State University in 1995 as a graduate assistant, and his role through the ranks and was promoted to be a professor of this university in October 1st, 2018. He has served in various academic and administrative capacity within and outside this OLABISI University. He was the head of the Departmental Registration Officer for 100 level studios years back in 1986 down to 2013. Departmental Examination Officer between 1996 to 2006. Member Departmental Publication Committee in 1997 to 2018. Staff Advisor for the National Association of Students of Religious Studies 1998 to 2013, Secretary Orisun, Journal of Religions and Moral Values 2001 to 2007, Review Editor, Same Journal 2007 to 2016, Dean's Representative for University Academic Ceremony 2003 to 2008, Departmental Coordinator for CESAP, Subdean Undergraduate Faculty of Art 2007 to 2011, and of course, the acting head of Department Religious Study 2013 to 2015. In recognition of academic points and excellency as well as dexterity in this area, Professor OBASOLA has at different times been appointed as an excellent examiner of MA and Ph.D. students in different universities across Nigeria. And this includes Crowder Graduate Theoretical Seminary at Abeokuta, University of Ibadan, Leeds City University, AGO-IWOYE University, etc. to mention a few. He has also served as national assessor of promotion cases in number of universities, including the University of Lagos, ONABANJO University Ife, University Iwo. He was one-time visiting lecturer to Traditional University of Education, Adeleke University, as well as Mountain Top University. He belongs to many professional bodies, including the Nigerian Association for the Study of Legal Study, the Nigerian Association for the Promotion of Students in Studies in Arts and Social Sciences, National Association for the Study of Religious Education, African Association for the Study of Religions, National Association for Christian Studies, as well as International Society for Development and Sustainability in Japan, as well as the European Center for Research, Training and Development, United Kingdom, to mention of the field. Our inaugural lecturer of today has attended several local and international conferences and workshops and has well published over 50 publications in reputable national and international journals. He has also impacted meaningfully in the lives of graduates in this university. To this extent, he has supervised well over 50 master's degree dissertations, supervised and post-supervised nothing less than 20 Ph.D. students in the Department of Education. Indeed, he has contributed meaningfully to human capital development in the field of religious studies. Professor KEHINDE OBASOLA is married and blessed with both biological and academic children. KEHINDE welcome to the podium Professor KEHINDE OBASOLA to give 115 inaugural lecture at this university.
Vice Chancellor, sir, Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, in absentia, the Registrar, the University Librarian, the Bursar, Provost of the Postgraduate School and Colleges, Deans of Faculties and Student Affairs, Heads of Department, distinguished Professors, Directors and Heads of Unit, distinguished colleagues and friends from sister universities and institutions, my Lords spiritual and temporal, family and friends, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Preamble. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. That's from Matthew 6 verse 13. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I give the ultimate glory, honor, and adoration to the Almighty God for making this day a reality. At the same time, I wish to thank the current management of the university under the leadership of Professor Jola Johnson for the privilege given to me to deliver this inaugural lecture. This lecture, the 115th in the series of inaugural lectures at OLABISI ONABANJO University. However, it is the 12th from the Faculty of Arts and the 4th from the Department of Religious Studies. The first lecture from the department was titled Religious but Criminal Society, Any Remedy, was delivered by Professor AGO-IWOYE late. The second was delivered by our Emeritus Professor Kamaldeen Abdulaziz Balogun on Tuesday, 31st October 2006, and is titled Islam and World Peace. The third, delivered by Professor Olatunde Oderede, was titled Woman, Redefining the Nomenclature in God's Perspective, and it was delivered in July 2023. Therefore, I stand before you today to deliver the fourth inaugural lecture from the Department of Religious Studies. The title of this inaugural lecture is born out of the reality and enormity of the misconceptions that have arisen from the notion of God and the existence of evil. The ways humans have dealt with these issues vary. It is in the light of these that this lecture seeks to interrogate the social and moral perceptions of people about God and the reality of evil. God's existence has been variously criticized as a result of the apparent reality of evil, and questions have been asked: who created evil? And for what purpose? Can God be exonerated from the evil that confronts humans? How evil exists in a world created by a good and loving God is perhaps the trickiest philosophical argument against the traditional concept of God, and this has defied rational explanation. Consequently, God's fundamental attributes are either downplayed or the existence of God is completely rejected to justify the existence of evil in the world. Traditionally, the response to evil has been given in two forms. First, the traditional defense of God's sovereignty and the free will defense of evil. It is in the light of the above that I intend to espouse my views on the raging conflict on the existence of God and the reality of evil. These two are the principal forces that rule the world and shape human destiny. However, there has been a consistent battle between the two for the souls of mankind and that of the society in which he lives. Hence, the question is the voice of evil not louder than the voice of God? Is evil not predominant in a world created by a good God? Who should be blamed for the veracity of the evil in the world? God, evil, or man? The Bible categorically states that, and God saw that the wickedness of man was great was great in the earth, and that every imagination in the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. This has led to the choice of this title, Delivering God from Evil, an Afro-Philosophical Perspective. Mr. Vice Chancellor, the discussion of evil is a tumultuous subject amongst religious scholars and philosophers with vast arrays of debates, theories, and religious explanations to justify the prevailing voice of evil, the ubiquitous human suffering, and mystery in a world that is created by an all-powerful God. Over the years, there have been concrete and contentious debate on who is to blame for the existence and perpetuation of evil in the world. Thus, the buck passing has been perpetually shifted between God and some unseen supernatural powers that are beyond man's control. In most cases, the primordial Yoruba divinity and other mystical forces have received their fair share of the blame for the existence and perpetration of evil. Also, it is customary and intuitive to us to accuse God of the existence and perpetration of evil whenever there is a negative occurrence, because God is believed to be in control of evil and has the sole power to limit it or to stop it. For example, when evil occurs, the Yoruba will explain, Ọlọ́run á dá ọwọ́ ibi dúró. However, man has always been absorbed from the dilemma of evil. The concept of God is fundamental in every social and religious system. God is a complex being in both religious and philosophical contexts. In the African traditional faith, God is the supreme being from which all other beings get their beings. Africans believe in the monotheistic God who is supreme and has absolute power. It is sacrosanct that people's understanding of God influences their worldview and most especially their perception of evil and the interpretation of it. African understanding of God as the supreme being and the supreme power influences their understanding of evil and how evil is dealt with in the society. The attributes and nature of God have made man to berate God as the supreme cause and controller of evil within man's society. The question is God culpable in the issue of evil? If God is wrongly accused of evil, does this relieve man of his responsibility? These are the issues and questions that have over time generated questions and they demand answers. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, in African thought, God is a supernaturally mysterious being. There has been a divergent opinion on whether the Africans believe in God or whether Africans legitimately know God. The notion of God is concrete, and one does not need to be religious, to be a religious person to believe in the existence of God as far as the Africans are concerned, because God is powerful, unquestionable, fair, and just. Africans underscore the concept of God in terms of a being from whom other beings, visible and invisible, got their existence. Hence, God is the supreme being. In Yoruba cosmology, God is the supreme being with the generic name Olodumare. The nomenclature of Olodumare within the Yoruba linguistic construct contains two main declensions. One, Olodu, and the other is Mari. Olodu means someone who is all-sufficient, superlative, and perfect in greatness and what? Or one with perfect song. Mari, on the other hand, means immutability, that is unchanging or unmoving. Olodumare is the great unfathomable one, the highest being. Nothing else can be conceived, and the superior ruler of the earth. God is a being whose existence and influence permeates the terrestrial world. This implies that God is a mystery, a being shrouded in mystery. In the African understanding, God is described as Aditu. The Yoruba speak of God as an intelligent being with hatred for sin and wickedness. So, other religions too. In the same sense, the supreme being occupies a remarkable position in the religious pantheon of the Yoruba and is regarded as the creator and sustainer of the universe. It is because of this that the Yoruba have three principal personal names for God, and these names are Olodumare or Olorun or Olofihorun, as the case may be. And there are other personal names by which he is known. He is the Eleda or Adeda or Elemi, as the case may be. So in other words, the Africans have seen him as someone who is in charge of every situation of life as far as their human existence is concerned. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, the African God is not without distinctive attributes. African thinks and relates to God from an attributive state by describing him through various attributes that describe his nature, being, power, goodness, ownership of all things, omnipresence, and omniscience. Therefore, there are some attributes and qualities of the supreme being with which Africans describe him, God. The goodness of God is described in his all goodness and performing of good to humans. Hence, the Yoruba believe that Ọlọ́run kì í ṣe bí, rere ló ń ṣe. God never does evil, he does only good. He is also Arayiron, the one who sees both heaven and earth together. And this underlies his omniscience, which means that he is all-knowing and aware of both the past, present, and the future. The just attribute of God is expressed in various judicial statements and descriptions of Olódùmarè, such as Adakedajo, the silent judge. And that is why, among the Yoruba, when somebody does something that is untoward, the Yoruba people say, Amo Kunjali, Bi Oba Yeo Leo Omungo. So, in that context, therefore, that explicates the Yoruba view of the fact that God is all-knowing and that he sees everything. God among the Africans is unique. Is unfathomable, incomparable, indescribable, and incomprehensible. This perception is why Africans do not have a picture or an image of him. The fact that he is the one with absolute sovereignty emphasizes his uniqueness. He is a unique being, and he is described as Oba Awon Oba. He is the King of Kings. It is noteworthy that even this conception is influenced by the social-political system of the African people. It is believed that God is the creator of the universe and all things therein. Another Yoruba name for God, which explicitly explains this, is Eleda. Africans believe in God that is infinitely perfect and does everything to perfection. He is Oba Ashekomaku. An analysis of these attributes of God according to Bachelor 2004 and 2018 suggests that Olódùmarè is the prime cause of all things and has supremacy over all things. He is the creator, the judge, the supreme being, the ultimate perfection, the supreme influence, and the universal controller of the world. The Yoruba Olódùmarè is morally upright, is a morally upright God, prompt and just, who metes out justice here on earth and does not necessarily wait till the hereafter, where we are not sure anybody will witness and learn from. Neither will he undo the evil perpetrated by man. The evil called evil. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, evil is a dreadful phenomenon and cuts across every spectrum of life. It will be absurd to state that there are many occurrences of evil in the world that have detrimental effects, such as causing death and destructions. Evil is something that is harmful to the well-being of living beings. The existence of evil in a world created by an all-good and perfect God has been controversial, especially among philosophers and theologians. It is an undeniable fact that there are evil in the world. Evil is often synonymous with pain, suffering, loss of life and property. Human existence is bedeviled with pain and agonies, which forms the tragedy humans have to undergo. The manifestation of evil in the world is reflected in sudden natural shocks, such as disruptions, diseases, whirlwinds, quicksands, plague, and immense human capacity for cruelty. This problematic nature of evil has led to religious and philosophical discussions. This has led to a frantic attempt to justify the traditional belief in God and his attributes in the face of evil. The seeming irreconcilable nature of the goodness and power of God with the existence of evil has made atheists to denounce the claim of religion about God and his traditional attributes, such as God's omnipotence, God's omniscience, and God's goodness. The problem created by the existence of evil in the universe has had grave consequences on significant belief systems, particularly in Christianity. Romans 20:21 expresses that it is likely the case that no charge has been made with greater frequency or with most telling force against theism of Judeo-Christian tradition than that such theism is unable to explain adequately the occurrence of the existence of evil. This has led to the dilemma of the problem of evil. So, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, in discussing the dilemma that has been created by the existence of evil in the world, OBASOLA 2002-2018 assert that the problem of evil presents humanity with a profound dilemma. This could be in two forms. Either God is not what humans believe him to be, or to deny the reality of the evil in the world. In human history, the predominance of evil has been tenacious, and humanity cannot deny its manifestation. The voice of God, on the contrary, seems to be on the low edge, gentle and infecting tone on the cosmic and social evil. If God is omnipotent, all-loving, then he will wish to end all evil and suffering. No all-loving God will wish his creations to suffer for no reason. Yet, evil and suffering do exist. So, either God is not omnipotent, or omnibenevolent, or he does not exist. If God is omnipotent, then he can do anything. This presupposes that he could create a world with which is free from evil and suffering, and he could stop all evil and suffering. If God is omniscient and knows everything in the universe, then he must know how to stop evil and suffering. Therefore, it becomes a logical dilemma for man to accept the traditional understanding of God and the prevalence of evil in a logical whole. Evil, as experienced worldwide, can be divided into four categories, and these are the metaphysical evil, physical evil, natural evil, and the moral evil. Human will, determinism, and responsibility concerning evil. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, will is simply that by which the mind chooses any time. The faculty of the will is that power or principle of the mind which makes it capable of making a choice. It is the act of either choosing or refusing. For in every act of will, whatsoever the mind chooses, one thinks instead of another. It chooses something rather than the contrary. Thus, it can be simply said that will determines the cause of any action. However, from the scientific perspective, the issue of free will leads to the question about the nature of the physical universe and the place of man in it. Human psychology and causes of action and social conditioning. In another perspective, the overwhelming argument of determinism rests on the principle that everything is determined by forces that humans have no control over. In more familiar terms, determined event is said to be an inevitable or necessary event given the determining conditions. The debate on free will is occasioned by, on the one hand, by the reflection of freedom, and on the other hand, by the notion of responsibility. Free will is closely related to the notion of accountability, blameworthiness, praiseworthiness for actions. These schools of thought emerge from the debate of compatibilism and incompatibilism. The incompatibilists, on one hand, hold that free will is incompatible with determinism, while compatibilism reconciles the ordinary experience of being free from scientific view about the universe and human beings. As such, humans are to be held responsible for their actions. It is generally believed that humans have free will. From the foregoing, if humans are free agents, then they are responsible for their actions. Insofar as humans are not reduced to robotic entities, they should take responsibility for the roles of immoral evil. Evil in African thought. OBASOLA 2002 and 2004 opined that evil is a multidimensional concept and inseparable indispensable reality and a necessary commodity of life and nature. African thought. In African thought and religion, African religion does not have a sophisticated story of the origin of evil. Africans and African religions are not bothered by the origin of evil or eradicating evil from the world created by Olódùmarè. Their concern is on how man finds meaning in life with the duality of evil and good created by Olódùmarè. God in African thought hinges not on celestial or mystical being, but on two polemics, and that is morality and communality. Moral-wise, it is any thought, intention, word, experience that is injurious, painful, hurtful, regretful, and calamitous, which impedes or obstructs the achievement of goals, ideas, happiness, or general well-being. Africans are moral beings, morally communal in nature. This makes evil communal as it affects being in relation. The essence of evil consists in doing harm to others, or how cosmic events affect man, his community, and destiny. Evil in Afro-Yoruba thought is not a self-conceptive element, but that which needs an agent to occur or manifest. Africans cannot process that idea of evil without an agent. The agent of evil is an ontological being and mystical force. These mystical forces, as far as the Yoruba concerned, are or is called the Ajogun. The Ajogun is framed under 8 warlords, and these warlords are Ọ̀ràn, Òfò, Ẹ̀dà, Àrùn, Ikú, Ẹ̀wọ̀n, Èpè, and Ẹ̀ṣẹ̀. So the implication of this is that oftentimes one thinks that evil occurs by virtue of certain events. However, in the African sense, evil occurs as a result of these mystical forces that are in operation. And these are also subject to how humans have conditioned their lives or how they have lived their lives. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, apart from evil being a dependent object in the African train of thought, Africans believe and approach evil as a cosmic necessity. This cosmological principle is captured in the Afro-Yoruba notion of Tibitire Ladaliade. Ire and Ibi are inseparable unity of the entire whole, but a coin having 2 sides. Therefore, one cannot have good without having the other one. The Yoruba thinks from the cosmic duality of reality, which hinges on the eternal law of polarity in nature, that is, the existence of contrasting opposites. This polarity principles underscore the basic framework of African understanding of evil as part of the world which makes for balance in nature. However, in also talking about evil, it has been mentioned, and people think that the soul or the causal factor of evil in Yoruba or among the Yoruba is Eshu. Therefore, Eshu's identity in contemporary times has been subsumed in mystery and misconceptions. Eshu in traditional Yoruba belief was and is much more complex, is a much more complex figure and concept. The co-opting of Eshu into the discourse of the problem of evil stems from the early misconception and cross-fertilization of idea by Bishop Ajayi Crowther, who translated the Yoruba divinity Eshu to be Satan or the devil in the Christian Bible. Hence, Eshu has been seen as the progenitor, instigator, and chief of cosmic evil. It is common to adjudge all evil to Eshu through various transfers of appropriations of blame to him. It is common to hear popular phrases like Nadebujuan, or Ishe Ishuni, or Eshulofa, and other cliches when someone does something wrong and they cannot explain or they do not wish to disown. In essence, people intuitively believe that Eshu is the devil who pushes people to do evil because he is believed to be the evil through and through. Eshu in Yoruba cosmology is not the devil or Satan as has been and is being portrayed in the Euro-Christian religious schools of thought. Eshu in the authentic Yoruba concept is the enforcer of the will of Olodumare, and it's not the equivalent of the Euro-Christian devil or Satan who is out to undermine the work of the Almighty God. Eshu is not inherently evil as Satan, who is described as inherently evil and an inherent liar, whose cosmic mission is to sway humanity from God and be the God of the earth. Eshu is not completely evil, but one who can do good, which Yoruba believe is opposed to the evil or Satan or the devil as is believed in other religions. Eshu is not a competitor of Olodumare, but an emissary of Olodumare, who works in tandem with him, that is Olodumare, to ensure peace and order in the earth. Eshu is not in kingdom contention like Satan, who used deceit to usurp kingdom from man in the Judeo-Christian scripture. The goodness and benevolence of Eshu in Yoruba belief is obvious in both devotion and veneration of Eshu and nomenclature affinity to the name among the Yoruba. It is common and customary to find Yoruba names that are prefixed with Eshu, such as Eshumuni, Eshu, Eshisheyi, Eshufunke, and the rest. These are in all contrast to Western custom, where no one wants to bear an evil name or any name that is in consonance with anything evil or Satan. Africans delight in Eshu, and they are proud to be affiliated to him and his name. It is said to express that Eshu and the Yoruba deity, as it has been known in contemporary thought, is a victim of human misconception of personality and defamation of character in respect of his person. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, the social moral evils in contemporary society, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, it will be apt to explicate some of the areas where evil is manifest in our society, our contemporary society, with the view to put it into proper perspective, the application and manifestation of evil in the society, and to find out if these are caused by God or Eshu or by man, as the case may be. Some of these are poverty, corruption, environmental evil, to mention a few. The question is poverty, corruption, and environmental evil induced by God, or is it the handiwork of Eshu? Poverty, corruption, environmental evil are human-induced and has nothing to do with neither God nor Eshu. Humans should therefore look inward in order to solve this problem. Neither God nor Eshu should be blamed for social moral evil. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. Evil in prosperity gospel. The prosperity gospel teaches that Christians have a claim to health and wealth, and that they can achieve these blessings by positive confession of faith and the sowing of seed through faithful tithes and sacrifices. It is known as health and wealth gospel, or name it and claim it. Prosperity gospel induces evil in Africa today in the form of occultism and the rise of occultic theology, greed, self-indulgence, selfishness, lack of virtue or character, promotion of poverty, and materialism. The essence of this lies in the fact that the gospelers will rather induce people and to get money from them. And this has been problematic for the people. And we find several cases where schools were established by these churches, and members of those churches cannot send their children to those churches. They live in abject poverty. The question is that caused by evil, or is that caused by issue? Suicide and euthanasia as social moral evil. Suicide has been referred to as ikuyajesin. Death is better than disgrace, dishonor, and indignity in Yoruba thinking. According to Larry Abbas, the idea of dignity has a crucial influence on the individual's decision to commit suicide. And we find out that suicide is also very rampant in our societies today. When a person chooses death, it signifies that he or she considered it to be a better option than disgrace, a sin. The urge to maintain personal dignity in the face of looming embarrassment is a primary motivator for some people to commit suicide. Death is seen as a preferable alternative to disgrace. Death is preferable because of the agonizing circumstances of life in which the individual concerned did not want to jeopardize his honor or learn that he is on the verge of public ridicule. Mr. Vice sir, sometimes the dignity of a person may be more important than the need to preserve life, especially when all measures to prevent suffering fail. Then, each competent person has the right to decide for him or herself what he wants. And in this case, if he chooses to commit suicide, then the question is that induced by God, or is it induced by evil, or by himself? So in this situation, therefore, humans should learn to take responsibility for his actions rather than placing such responsibilities at the doorsteps of God or issue or evil, as the case may be. Major contributions to knowledge. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, my research and teaching interest covers various aspects of African religion, comparative studies of religion, philosophy of religion, sociology of religion, religious ethics, and religion science. I have written extensively on the African perspective on the notion of God and evil as it affects the African understanding and perception of the twin concepts. I have consistently argued for humans' place and role in the created order, and such humans are responsible for their actions and should not be placed at the doorstep of God, if as much as man is created as a free moral agent. He should therefore be responsible for his actions and also contributed to the global discourse on the various challenges of the 21st century from the African religious-philosophical perspective. This lecture exemplifies the Afro-philosophical answer to the age-old challenge of evil. It demonstrates that the problem of evil arises in Yoruba cosmology, but that by this dualistic method, they can fix or at least ameliorate it. When evil befalls man, Yoruba attributes it to a God who is irritated because someone has broken the rules and order of the society. God is an ontological being, which is central to both the Christian and Yoruba religious belief system. Given God's qualities, neither Christianity nor Yoruba religion can deontologize God's existence. In both cases, God is regarded as a necessary and a perfect being. Conclusion. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. The problem of evil is a recurring theme in metaphysics and religious philosophy. The problem of evil exists because man believes in an omnipotent, omniscient, and omnibenevolent creator. Diminishing or absorbing God of his existence and attribute is a form of evil by robbing God of his fundamental attributes for man to justify evil in his world. Also, attributing evil to God because he is all-powerful and the ultimate cause is another expression of evil as it robes God with evil. There are no contradictions in God's attributes. He can destroy evil, but not at the expense of taking away free will. You have approached the problem of evil dualistically. They do not see evil as diametrically opposed to goodness. This explains the popular philosophic saying, "Tibitulada ide aye," or "Ire wa ninu ibi," and "Ibi wa ninu ire." Therefore, attributing evil to God is an attempt to exonerate man completely from the problem of evil in the name of Amuwa Olorun. It is obvious that not all Amuwa Olorun is Amuwa Olorun. In other words, not all evil is caused by God. There is also the notion of Amuwa Eniyan or AFRO-PHILOSOPHICAL, which demand responsibility and accountability. Hence, Yoruba have found that Ọlọ́run kì í ṣe bí ènìyàn ní kábẹ̀ as a philosophical response to the dilemma of evil in the light of their perception of God. Recommendations. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. In a bid to deliver God from all the encumbrances that humanity has placed in its doorsteps, the following recommendations will suffice. The issue of morality should be taken with all seriousness as a catalyst to social and moral evil in the society. Morality is an individual choice since man possesses free will. Furthermore, the human attribute of all evil to God or issue and other mysterious powers must be deconstructed. Consequently, the notion of Amuwa Olorun should be actively opposed, as most of these behaviors have nothing to do with God. As a result, distinction should be made between Amuwa Olorun and AFRO-PHILOSOPHICAL, because man is the author of his own actions. Acknowledgements. Except the Lord build the house, the labor in vain that build it. Except the Lord keeps the city, the watchman waits in vain. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, and distinguished guests, my standing here is because of the grace I received from God. On this note, I wish to express my profound gratitude to God Almighty for how far He has led me and how further He will yet lead me. I cannot end this lecture without a heart of gratitude to all the people that God has used to bring me to where I am today. My heart of gratitude goes to the Vice Chancellor, Professor Ayodeji Olaika Johnson Aduola, for his support in making today a reality. I cannot thank you enough, sir. I am equally grateful to the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, Professor Olatundu Oderide, who has been my sister and a wonderful friend. She has been my #1 fan, and I call her my hero. I appreciate your demonstration of the spirit of Abadiri. The Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, Professor Charles O. Adekoya, has been wonderful, particularly in the production of this inaugural lecture. I appreciate your support all the way, and I'm grateful to all the principal officers and all civic members. I especially appreciate my parents, my father, late Frederick Obasola, of blessed memory, my mother, Victoria Olasimbo Obasola, a woman in a million, dedicated, supportive, caring, God-fearing, principled, generous, loving, diligent, prudent, disciplined, resilient, and hardworking. Is your match enough for Nigeria? Appreciate the entire Obashola family, both at home and diaspora. My twin sister, Mrs. Taiwo Jerry, is appreciated. Mrs. Janet Abisola Adedogun, all are supposed to come here and be. Mrs. Atinuke Arebeshola, Mr. Olale Sunday Obashola, Olade Obashola late. Omotawa Obashola, Abimbola in Obashola, as well as Faith Obashola, you are all appreciated. I acknowledge the support and encouragement received from the Ogun dynasty, my maternal grandparents, Mr. Edward Bangola and Mrs. Abigail Oregala. They were wonderful people. May the Lord rest their souls. I appreciate all the supports from Dr. Olusegun Ogun, Mrs. Oluwafunilayo Oregala Ogun, Wande, Bolade, Boluwatife, and others. I appreciate Pastor and late Pastor Mrs. Omolara Akibo, Mrs. Aduke Ajayi, Mrs. Tony Ogunlowo, Mrs. Kemi Adeolu, Mr. Wole Ogunyanwo, Barrister Olubide Oyisoye, and others. Thank you so much. I'm eternally grateful to the Emeritus Professor Kamaldeen Abdulaziz Balogun, who initiated me into the academic world. So, perhaps one of the reasons why I am in religious studies was because of Professor Balogun. I had the intention of reading law, but in my second year, I thought of changing to law. And then he was the head of the department, and I approached him. I got an approval from law that I should report. But when I took the letter to him, that okay, they said I should report to law, he said, no, I cannot release the best students in my department. And since then, I have to take this as a challenge. And today, I'm standing here by the grace of God. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate late Professor Venerable Adeojumewa, late Mr. EMMANAUEL, who are my teachers, late Dr. John Ayomolafe. I appreciate Professor Afro-PHILOSOPHICAL for his contributions. Late Dr. Mrs. Oluwatosin Adeoti Akiton is appreciated for her tenacity, hard work, and resilience. May her soul find rest in the bosom of the Lord. Other members of the department, both teaching and non-teaching, are appreciated. The HOD, Dr. Abudani Olutola Hashimi, Dr. Tuwatola Abidemi Falaye, Dr. Akim Azakoni, Dr. Oluwaseyi Nathaniel Shogule, Dr. Dauda Ashir Ebioluwo, Dr. Samuel Aladewuyemi, Dr. Tawani Ladiu, and Dr. Wale Peter. I also appreciate Mrs. Abiola Okuyedu and Omolara Ogunsoya. I recognize and appreciate the kindness and friendship of distinguished scholars and professors from the Department of Religious Studies across Nigeria, from the University of Ibadan, Obafemi Awolowo University, Ambrose Ali University, ECOMA, Crowther Graduate Theological Seminary, Kogi State University, University of Lagos, Caleb University, Mountain Top University, Adekunle Ajasin University, Adeleke University, and others. I also appreciate the support received from the director of the French Village, Professor Tunde Ayelero. I thank profusely Professor Ademola Johnson Ajuwon, Faculty of Public Health, University of Ibadan, for making out time of his busy schedule to read and correct this inaugural lecture. My appreciation goes to the Dean, Faculty of Arts, and all members of the faculty, both teaching and non-teaching. I place on record the contributions of Professors Olatipo Olubunemi, Ebo Otuole, Dr. Wale Salami, and every member of the faculty. I also appreciate the non-teaching staff of the faculty, Mrs. Folake Ogunseyin, and others. I appreciate Mrs. Alibajo, Mrs. Kuti, and Mrs. Abiodun Olatunji for all their efforts. I and acknowledge the friendship and support I've received from Dr. Babajide Olubedasalu and his family. Indeed, Jide has been more than a friend. Thank you for your supports. Thank you for the push. Thank you for the encouragement. I also appreciate the children, Dr. Pelumi Dasaolu, Barrister Bukumi Dasaolu, Mr. Samuel and Daniel Dasaolu. I appreciate my supervisor, late Professor Michael Young Nabufa. You wish to be here, but you have joined the ancestors. And I appreciate every member of the Nabufa dynasty for the work they have shown to me. I also appreciate the indispensable mentorship and fatherly role of the Right Reverend Professor Dapo Asiaju, the Bishop of Village Announcers, former Vice Chancellor of Ajayi Crowther University of Oyo. I am grateful to my spiritual father, Pastor Roti Oyedele of Christ the Day Spring Church, Samonda Ibadan. I appreciate Pastor Rose Oyedele, Pastor Ademo Adebi, Pastor Nelson Okushay, and Pastor Yomi Okusanya, and all members of the Christ the Day Spring Church for their love and prayers. I equally thank the CEO of Bolinton Motor Works Lagos, Mr. Apollo Akitude, and members of his family for every support and encouragement. I appreciate the support and assistance received from Mr. Ayo Atibola Idowu and family. I place on record the contributions of late Mrs. Folashade Alikamsi Nido. May the Lord rest your soul. I appreciate the Olajides, Dayo, Shield, and the twins. I sincerely appreciate all my students, both undergraduates and postgraduate. As Vice Chancellor, if I are to be naming, we will have to take a longer time. But I want to appreciate all my students, both undergraduates and postgraduates. God bless you and God keep you in the name of Jesus. I also appreciate members of my alma mater, members of the Adubiali Victory High School, Abeokuta. You are well appreciated. And I'm grateful to the family God has blessed me with. I appreciate Dr. Adepola Obashola for her persistent prayers. God bless you and keep you in the name of Jesus. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all for listening.
You may have your seats, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the management of ONABANJO University, we want to thank you all for finding time to attend this inaugural lecture. You will agree with me that it has indeed been a stimulating lecture, which we all have enjoyed. We thank you very much for coming. The inaugural lecturer on his behalf would like to thank you all for finding time to be here today. We appreciate your presence here. You are all very, very important people, and we thank you all for coming. But we cannot end this lecture without mentioning some individuals who are with us here just for the purpose of recognition. Right here in our midst, we have a mentor to the inaugural lecturer, and indeed the first and the only emeritus professor of ONABANJO University of Ogun, Professor ONABANJO. We thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for coming. We have our Lord's spiritual here seated. We also thank you very much for coming. Reverend Dr. Olawale Italajobi, we thank you for coming. Right Reverend Professor Olubayo Okijole, the Bishop of African Community, we thank you very much for coming. We also have with us a retired professor and a distinguished member of this university community, Professor Sir Otumba Shola Adebadu. We're happy to see you once again. We thank you for coming. Some of our former colleagues are also here. They were in the department of the inaugural lecturer. I can see Professor Dairo and his wife there. It's good to see you again. Thank you for coming. Dr. ONABANJO, I saw him a few some time ago. Oh, we thank you also for coming. We thank you all and wish you God's journey, God's mercies back to your respective destination. Right now, I'm going to invite the Vice Chancellor to please declare this ceremony closed. May I implore you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to please stand and remain standing while the procession is exiting in reverse order. May I also ask the wife of the inaugural lecturer and the immediate family and the children if they're here to please accompany us immediately after we leave the hall to take some photographs. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I thank you all for coming. May I now invite the Vice Chancellor to please declare this 115 inaugural lecture closed. Vice Chancellor.
Once again, I bring greetings to members who are present. So let me use the word of the inaugural lecturer and English. I learned something today. Is that every spirit of Olódùmarè, and that is strange to me. I added one today as well. And so I've been going around and not saying Èṣù gbé mi, Èṣù yẹ mí, Èṣù bí yìí, Olúwa bí yìí máa gbọ́ àpẹẹrẹ lẹ́nu Èṣù bí yìí náà wà. The principal of the university, provost, the professors here present, other members of studies, and spiritual fathers, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Senate of this great university, I hereby declare 150 inaugural lecture closed.
Please rise and remain standing.
Thank you very much. Wish you journey mercies back to your various destination. Thank you.